The clock strikes midnight. 5 Iranian speedboats, shadows on dark water, approach a Hong-flagged oil tanker. A warning shot cracks across the bow. A voice in broken English orders the ship to alter course. It refuses. Minutes later, Iranian naval special forces fast rope onto the deck. The vessel is seized. Within the hour, a statement from Tehran. This is a lawful interdiction. But the unspoken message is clear. The Strait of Hormuz, the world's most critical oil choke point, is now a contested zone. This is not an invasion. It is a strangulation. 21 million barrels of oil per day, 1/5 of the world's liquid petroleum supply, normally glide through this narrow passage. By dawn, the first ship tracking maps blink red. Insurance premiums for the Gulf skyrocket by 500%. Global benchmark Brent crude jumps 40% in a single trading session. This is the opening move, the first step on an escalation ladder with no clear exit. The immediate calculus is one of geography and capability. Iran does not need to mine the entire strait or sink ships. It needs only to create an unacceptable risk. Its arsenal for this task is extensive. Thousands of anti-ship missiles embedded along the coastline, swarms of armed drones and fast attack craft, and quiet, modern submarines. The threat is asymmetric. For every billion-dollar US destroyer, there are 100 low-cost Iranian assets. The US Fifth Fleet in Bahrain is on maximum alert, but to secure the strait is to paint a target on every allied warship. The world's response is fractured and instinctive. Saudi Arabia and the UAE announce they will activate their east-west pipelines, bypassing the strait. But their combined spare capacity is less than 7 million barrels per day. The shortfall is immediate and profound. Europe, already struggling, faces rationing. Emerging economies in Asia see their growth projections evaporate overnight. The 1973 oil shock was a crisis. This is a cardiac arrest for the global energy system. The United States faces a trilemma. Option 1, a limited military action to clear coastal batteries and missile sites. This is an act of war, guaranteeing Iranian retaliation against regional US bases, Israeli territory, and remaining commercial shipping. Option 2, a naval convoy system, escorting tankers through the hazard. This would be slow, resource-intensive, and turn each convoy into a high-value target. Option 3, diplomatic pressure while releasing strategic petroleum reserves, a temporary stopgap that drains the world's emergency buffer within months. On paper, the US military dwarfs Iran's. In reality, geography is the great equalizer. The Strait of Hormuz is not the open Pacific. It is a shallow, congested alleyway overlooked by Iranian hills. Every modern weapon system has a cost-exchange ratio. A $20 million missile to destroy a $2 million launch site. An economy of scale that benefits the defender. The first American casualty, whether a ship or an aircraft, triggers a political shockwave in Washington. The question shifts from, can we win, to what does winning cost, and what comes after? The global economy begins to rewire itself in real time. Tankers reroute around the Cape of Good Hope, adding weeks to voyages and millions in cost. Petrochemical plants in Europe and Asia shut down. Airline schedules are slashed. The inflation of the 20s becomes a permanent baseline. Governments fall. All because a narrow strip of water, 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest, is no longer safe for passage. This is the fragility of modern complexity. A single pressure point, when compressed, collapses the entire system. The conflict enters its second phase, attrition. Iran has achieved its primary goal, leveraging geography to exert disproportionate global pain. But sustaining it is another matter. The regime now faces the consequences of its own action. Its oil exports, already under sanction, drop to near zero. Its economy, already strained, buckles under the weight of total isolation. China, its largest buyer, is furious. Its economic growth is now hostage to Tehran's decisions. This is the paradox of the strategy. The United States, meanwhile, avoids a direct invasion. The memory of asymmetric quagmires is too fresh. Instead, the campaign becomes one of covert degradation and profound containment. Cyber operations disrupt Iranian command and control. Financial sanctions become a total blockade. Any vessel heading to or from an Iranian port is considered contraband. The goal is not regime change. It is to make the cost of holding the strait unbearable for Iran itself. The world watches a test of endurance between a global superpower and a regional resistance power. The most likely flashpoint is miscalculation. An Iranian missile fired at a perceived threat hits a tanker from a neutral nation. A US airstrike accidentally kills Revolutionary Guard commanders in a civilian area. The escalation ladder gains a dangerous, unpredictable momentum. Hezbollah launches rockets into northern Israel. Houthi forces in Yemen target Saudi oil infrastructure with renewed intensity. The war for the Strait becomes a regional conflagration, but one contained by mutual fear. No actor, not the US, Israel, or Iran, desires a full-scale ground war. The violence is fierce, but the borders remain static. After weeks of stalemate, the pathways emerge, not through decisive victory, but through exhaustion and face-saving. Pathway 1. A quiet, mutual de-escalation. The US allows some sanctioned Iranian oil to flow discreetly. Iran redeploys its forces and releases seized ships. The strait reopens without fanfare, a return to a hostile but functional status quo. Pathway 2. A formal UN-brokered agreement. Guarantees of safe passage in exchange for sanctions relief on non-oil items. A temporary fix, not a lasting peace. Pathway 3. The collapse of the Iranian economy forces a reckless move, prompting internal unrest that topples the regime from within. A high-risk, long-odds outcome. The final analysis is cold. Closing the Strait of Hormuz is not a winning move. It is a weapon of mutual assured economic destruction. Iran can trigger the collapse, but it cannot control the fallout, nor can it survive the resulting isolation indefinitely. The United States can reopen the strait, but only by starting a war with catastrophic regional and global consequences. In this standoff, power reveals its ultimate limit. The ability to destroy is not the same as the ability to control. The real victory is not achieved on the battlefield of the Persian Gulf, but in the grim, quiet negotiation rooms where both sides, having stared into the abyss, choose to step back. The ultimate takeaway is a lesson in realpolitik sustainability. In an interconnected world, there are no isolated conflicts. A single act of aggression ripples into inflation, recession, and hunger, thousands of miles away. And the actor who initiates the shock must then withstand the backblast. Strategy is not about the first move. It is about enduring the 10th, the 20th, the 100th move. It is about surviving the world you have shattered. The Strait of Hormuz remains the world's most valuable piece of water, precisely because everyone knows that closing it is a path where everyone, in the end, loses. For more analysis that separates the paper theory from the real-world cost, where power meets its limits, stay with ThinkCell.